smile on that face. Hey, what's up? It's SJU, Joe, Dan, Billy.
Yo.
The adults are out of town, so we're gonna wreck this thing or not keep it on track or whatever. I don't know. I follow the script, guys. I say what Ryan tells me to say. That's all. Blame him. Ding. There's a Joker trailer. We're gonna watch it. We're gonna talk about. We're gonna talk about a little.
We're not gonna watch it.
No, we're not gonna watch it.
We like to keep our videos monetized.
We did watch it.
We're gonna talk about how we watched it. We are gonna do that, and maybe show some stills from it.
Yeah. That sounds on brand for us.
Some speed ramped clips.
Right. Back and forth if someone does something relatively funny.
Yeah. So we'll just do what we usually do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it. Hey, guys. What'd you think about that Joker trailer?
This is super weird. I don't know what in the hell this movie is. I really don't. But I'm intrigued. I'm really intrigued. This is really interesting to me. I don't know. It's super weird. That's all I have to say.
It's very, I think what makes it weird to me is coming off the heels of the back-to-back duo of Aquaman Shazam. I don't think you could take a harder left turn if you tried than this.
I don't consider this a
I don't, movie. Right. I don't, really you shouldn't.
It doesn't feel like that at all to me.
I feel like you shouldn't. I feel like anyone that walks in thinking this is like potentially like even tangentially the Killing Joke is going to be so utterly disappointed that they're going to end up hating this instead of just taking it for what it is.
Is this movie...
By the way, sorry, that sign that they were holding up, how long until that's the Twitter GIF? For like...
yeah.
Yep.
The 2020 election.
My follow-up question...
All y'all out there really saying Chick-fil-A still great. And a GIF of that.
Still waiting in line for Popeyes?
Yeah,
Do clowns normally paint their tongues? Is that standard clown? I didn't go to...
Well, he looks a bit crazy, Joe.
He does.
I hope
fair.
that it is like...
Not standard
not
clown
acrylic,
stuff.
but it is all just very non-toxic.
Yeah. Or the lead poisoning is the true origin of the Joker. Like, he's fine until he starts doing that.
Can we talk about something that you and I talked about in the car ride this morning?
Yeah, man.
By the way, I love that no one knows who I carpool with anymore, because I say all the time, as we talked in the car this morning.
Just keep
I
it
thought
secret.
it was Ed.
It sometimes
not
is.
here, so.
Yeah.
Sometimes sometimes I'm
I just like to take magical mystery tours with all my coworkers. I feel like this idea that the Joker is a force of nature and that he has no origin and he's almost like borderline supernatural in that sense of like he just came out of nowhere, like that is, I feel like a very recent thing that people have latched onto as that is the only valid interpretation of the Joker, completely like negating the fact that didn't really come into play until the Killing Joke. Like it was like there was always this semblance of like it was this guy who got mixed up with the wrong people, pulled a job he shouldn't have done as the Red Hood, and then got his ass knocked out. But even like no one threw a fit in the animated Batman Mask of the Phantasm where he's like just a dude that's like a bad guy, like a Jack Napier type. Like I don't know why we're so fixated on like he can't have an origin story. Like give him an origin story. Who cares?
Yeah. I think people get used to what they grew up with, though, largely. And so for a large number of folks, the version of the Joker that they know is the one that's like chaos. I mean, that's and I love that interpretation that Heath Ledger did that so great with like playing with the origin story. But yeah, it's the thing of like, are you going to go in expecting that from this? Because if you are, you're expecting a traditional interpretation of the Joker. I don't think this is what you're going to get. I wonder if this is like the future for weird ideas, because you take something like a movie like this with Joaquin Phoenix, and to get it made, you call it Joker.
Sure.
Yeah.
But
I
it's
think,
really if you make it, you could probably change everything about this movie. Or nothing about this movie except for calling it Joker, and it would work as a non-Batman / Joker comic book.
Dan, as someone who has not read this script, I will say I think you're 100% right. that if I had, I would
Billy,
probably say...
I'm just glad that you're here at the table as someone who absolutely hasn't.
No, I'm just saying if I did do it, I would think that there's maybe 3% connection to comic books at best. I think if you were to think of this more of like what's a modern day kind of like a remake in a way of Taxi Driver, here it is. But honestly, I've not looked at anyone online's reaction to this trailer. Like, I was literally driving and then came on here, so I don't know what the temperature is, but we love this when it happens in comics, like Gotham by Gaslight, or, you know, just these really esoteric, like Red Sun, where it's just kind of like, it's not really comic book related. Yeah, there's some people you know, some faces you know, some things you know, but it's not really like, why isn't this the comic book character I know? It's just like an Elseworld story. Like, are people cool with this?
I hope that they are, because that's where I think there's a large market to be had still in the comic book genre, and that I would love to see as these, you know, obviously they're going to keep their cinematic universes going.
Sure.
But these one-off or maybe even two-part movies where you just take a story and adapt it. So you don't have to worry about, like, well, we can't do this with Superman, or we can't do this with Iron Man or Captain America or Hulk or whatever, because we have to worry about what happens 5 years down the line. This idea of, like, hey, let's take a storyline and let's just adapt that storyline for the movies or for whatever, because I like that. I like that idea.
Or a lesser tier character.
Yeah, you know, just something that's not interconnected with 18 other global franchises.
Well, I'm curious that's why I really want to see what the reaction to this is, because I feel like you're going to start having a lot of camps very soon that are either tired of comic book adaptations, want to see something new, and people who are like, no, give me my faithful comic book adaptations, because I feel like this could be sort of a lightning rod of a movie, where it's going to be a lot of, like, reaction of people like, finally something different, and then people who are like, there's not a panel that I've seen before.
I don't understand
in any frame of this movie.
I don't understand that other side at all. Like, why would you want to see an exact live action?
A lot of people do.
I just don't understand it. I truly don't get it.
It's because we live in a time where so many storylines and characters have been adapted straight from the comics in such a satisfying way that I think people are engineered now to expect that. And when it doesn't happen, if something goes a little different, sometimes there are people that are like, well, wait, no, I thought this was going to be this, and it's this, and I don't want this, or I am just not open to this.
Well, and it's interesting too what falls through the cracks and what doesn't, because like we did I had to be reminded of this actually, because Thanos on screen was so compelling that I never stopped to go, wait a minute, aside from him not being in love with death, like I wasn't like, this isn't Thanos. But then we did the thing with Jim Starlin, and he reminded us, also you should watch it, it's good, but he reminded us, hey, they took his motivation from like 2 pages of a conversation I had him have with Silver Surfer, where he was BSing the Silver Surfer. He was giving like a fake motivation to what he was doing, and they ran with it. So I think it's interesting, like what slips through the cracks and what doesn't, with faithful to non-faithful adaptations.
Well, Thanos and Joker, you know, there's the Thanos heads out there. Are many, but
no, that's also completely fair.
Actually.
No, that is completely fair.
Joker is like, he's this, he's this, he's this, he's this, he's this, he has this, he does this, he says this, and he's going to be this, and it's like, for a lot of people, if it's not all of those things, you know, like my issue with Jared Leto Joker wasn't that he was different than traditional interpretations of the Joker. I just didn't like what they did. It wasn't like, oh, this is different. It was just like, I don't like this. I don't enjoy that at all. I'm not a fan of it.
Well, the interesting thing to me is that at some point people are going to have to start allowing for chances like that in comic book, TV, and film, because you know what else is new stories every month? Comics. Like at some point you're gonna have to start allowing for a Joker movie that has nothing to do with an established Joker story, because next month DC is going to give you a Joker story that you've never seen before, or they're going to do a reboot and he's going to sew his face on, or whatever weird thing the comics are going to try to do with the Joker. I don't think you love that
it was just weird. Joker. He cut his face off, and then it was like this big thing of like, who's got Joker's literal face, and then he like stapled it back. I was like, it's me. Like, neat.
Like, you know,
cool.
I want the pre-Killing Joke version of the Joker that just hits people with mallets and says boners a lot, because boners used to mean prank. Like,
I hope he falls for my boner as he runs across a life-size typewriter.
Yeah,
I've got plenty of boners for you here, Batman.
That's my Joker.
I would honestly adore that movie.
Once again, Batman falls for a classic Joker boner.
Get me Batman. The Joker. The Joker's left behind another boner. Oh, Bagora Chief.
Faith in Bagora.
Oh, Faith in Bagora.
There's another Joker boner happening.
I do wonder if, like, at a certain point, we've just hit every single way you could attack a comic book movie, that we finally do get, like, ridiculous 40s, 50s Batman stuck to the world's biggest xylophone, having to, like...
We're going to get there.
I can't wait for that.
Schumacher was like 70% of the way there.
He was ahead of his time. That guy's an effing visionary. I can't wait for people to be clamoring for more Schumacher.
I don't mind schlock at all. Like, that's why I do like Batman Forever, because it's like pretty well executed schlock. I don't like Batman and Robin because it's not done well. Like, if you had done a really great Batman and Robin with Arnold mugging to the camera and stuff like that, that was like shot well and had really well timed humor and joke, like, I'd love it. He just didn't execute that one as well as Batman Forever. To me.
Yeah, well, no, Batman and Robin is like, Batman Forever is kind of like, it's a mixture of, like, you get kind of dark with, like, the Batman origin story, but it's still, like, in the mythos. Like, Batman and Robin is weird because there's, like, a dancing gorilla and then Mr. Freeze saying, chill. And then it's like, Alfred, you're dying. It's like cut from neon Uma Thurman being like, Gotham is going to love these vines, to like, I'm on my deathbed, Master Wayne. Like, whoa,
Master Wayne, before I die, there's been one last boner.
Like, at that time, like, that was Batman. If you didn't like it, get effed. But now it's like there's so many different simultaneous, like, if you didn't like Spider-Verse, hang on 6 months, there's a different Spider-Man coming. Like, it doesn't feel as like end of the world if something comes out anymore. Like, I feel like there is going to be room for Matt Reeves Batman and, please God, Schumacher Batman 5. I want those parallel.
Before
I want them.
Burton.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
definitely.
he wants Nightwing with nipples, like, immediately. Like,
I want to just keep going down both those rabbit holes so far.
it's fair. That's fair. Is that why I don't get, like, quite as excited anymore about, like, big comic book movies? Because
They don't have nipples on the suits anymore.
that. Yes, that. Absolutely that. But also because I'm getting to the point where it's like, oh, it won't be the end of the world, because
Yes.
there will be another one. Because I did used to feel like that. Like,
Yes.
Well,
I
but
think
that's
so.
the thing that we forget is, like, we've been around the block 400 times. There are people out there that this is their
fair.
first or second trip
That's
around
fair.
the block.
That's fair. These
but-
are made for children.
Yeah,
these
but
are, these are made for a new
I'm not saying children. I'm just saying people.
No, I'm just saying you didn't have you didn't have, like, it's like if something comes out now and you're like, that's Batman's terrible. It's like you have 500 movies to
I
watch
didn't have
on
8
demand.
more years.
Yeah, it's
or
like,
I have no idea how much time.
if Batman Forever broke your heart, it's like
Dummies
you
on
could
YouTube
go watch the other
update
two.
me every day. Huh?
What?
Huh? No, it's just I was just blaming myself for my own problem.
Oh, okay.
Like, yeah. Lack of news used to be good news. Now you got a couple of boners like us every day going 6 more days until another Batman movie.
I used to get all my news from, like, Starlog. It was like, if it was the cover of Starlog, then I was like, oh, that movie's coming out. I didn't even know they were making another Jurassic Park.
Yeah, it was.
That was it.
Yeah, it was. It was that weird moment where you were dragged out with your parents and you were like, "Can I just go hang out in the magazine section of Barnes and Noble, please?"
Ooh.
Yeah, that's where we stick with
There's
our
a
news.
picture of Jeff Goldblum in the Lost World.
Yeah, now that's where the kids watch SJU.
Are we the
Barnes
news?
and Noble?
Yeah,
there are no children in Barnes and Noble.
They watch it in the middle of their class up there.
They're watching.
Oh yeah, they watch
Turn
it at
it
school.
off and listen. Don't listen to us. We're going to teach you nothing.
Don't make the same mistakes we made.
This is how
Don't
you
commit
get
the
here.
same boners that we made to get here. Get your real estate license, kid.
Yeah. Charting will teach you some things, but not
Watch Charting with Dan.
There is
Literally
that
nothing
there.
else that we
very
do.
little.
There's percentages. gross versus net, I think was a thing once. I learned that in high school.
Or you can watch an old It Could Have Been Worse with some really great Photoshop gags.
Like the love of Darth Vader.
Let's do the thing that people actually usually want us to do and actually talk about things that are in the trailer really quick.
Sure.
Is there anything instead of the esoteric ideas around it? Was there anything? I really liked the first trailer a little more. I didn't need the more like fleshed out like. I just really liked the mood and the atmosphere of that first one. I was sold. I was fine. But was there anything in this one that you were like, yay, or boo?
It's got a good laugh. The laugh. I like the laugh. And again, it just looks so weird. And it's a lot of times with a comic book movie, a traditional comic book movie, if I see a trailer, I feel like it's going to fall within a certain range. And it usually does, of being safe to a degree that it really can't be that terrible, but also being safe to a degree that oftentimes it can't be exceptional. Yeah. There are exceptions on both ends of that spectrum. This is one that it's refreshing to me in that it's based off of a character that I'm familiar with and a property that I'm familiar with. I have no idea if this movie's going to be one of the best movies of the year or an absolute train wreck.
Yeah, I don't have any boxes to tick on this one.
Yeah, which I like. It's a little refreshing. It goes back to when there weren't the days of like when Iron Man was coming out or when Nolan was redoing Batman Begins, where you're just like, I don't know. We'll see. I don't know if this is going to be good. So,
It looks gorgeous though. Like the cinematography really in this just looks so different. It looks like it's plucked from another time, which I think really interests me. It looks like they're, I feel like it's just I'm a little bit on like CGI burnout a little bit, and that's not to say that like even some CGI stuff hasn't been great this summer or the last couple of years, but it's like just to see a movie, especially something with an IP like this attached to it, and it's like I'm sure there's CGI in there somewhere with like little touch up like green screen background or something.
But there's not gonna be a sky
There's
beam.
no portals. There's no mega monster. It's just like this just looks and feels tangible. It feels real. It feels dirty. It feels like I'm in a different time, and like I appreciate that a lot. Like I typically don't like stripped down like comic book stuff, but I'm not counting this as comic book, so like the stripped down it does feel like a 70s Scorsese movie, which is cool.
Scorsese, and then obvious, the king of comedy is something that's been thrown around, but seeing a little more of De Niro sort of being the Jerry Lewis character, at least that's how they're selling it now, to the Republican character now being Joaquin Phoenix. Just that idea of cinematically, if it works, one of those neat things of just like, I'm going to program this weird double feature some night at some, college or whatever. It's just like King of Comedy and Joker, maybe. Just the potential for that kind of thing. Like, okay, these are two very disconnected things that could maybe echo each other in a way that's not unlike the prequels. And or maybe like the prequels. It's a poetry, it rhymes.
Yeah.
But this idea of like something cinematically going down the line and coming back, it's an intriguing idea. Like I said, I don't know how it's going to turn out, but I'm interested.
I think for me more than anything, I think the modern interpretations of the Joker have been less about hijinks and I'm not gonna say it again, and mallets and goofiness, and more of like the exploration of sort of extreme ideas and themes and feelings. And I'm already getting a sense from this trailer, and since you definitely haven't read it, blink if you agree, but I'm already getting a sense that like they're really going to be trying to hit like a lot here, just in terms of like ideas, and it feels like really thematically strong, and I feel like that's also something that we don't get as much these days. So I think that'll be cool. Like I don't think we're gonna see, not to make it about Marvel versus DC, but I don't think the next Avengers movie is gonna super hardcore deal with like class warfare or weird psychology issues or like so
I feel confident that there will not be some post-credits tag with like Jared Leto's Joker, like, "Are you ready to start the war?" or something.
And then he like unzips the multiverse.
And, like, Nicholson's Joker comes out and Ledger's Joker. Like,
I mean, well, unfortunately, we can't do all of that. But in an ideal world, that would kind of be awesome,
right?
It's like what you
into
said
the Jokerverse.
Yeah, into the Jokerverse. Also, I noticed on the script a note from Eric Goldman. Eric Goldman notes, someone pointed out to me on Twitter that King of Comedy is currently streaming on Amazon Prime for folks who haven't seen it. So if you want to prime yourself...
Why are we not getting money for this? This is ridiculous.
You can see the King of Comedy apparently now on Amazon Prime. It is also a great 80s Scorsese movie that you should check out. Just cinematically, you should check it out.
You absolutely should. You should also make sure you're liking videos here, subscribing, hitting bells. This is SJU on Fandom Entertainment. Thank you guys so much for watching. We've got a great charting out. You should check it out. I think we have some reviews coming soon.
We have a big review that shares a similarity with the main character of the Joker coming out next week.
Great.
When the embargo drops. So stay tuned for that. Big release. It's it. Chapter 6.
I was like, do we have to be quiet about
Wait, no. That's it. Next week. Yes. So, yeah.
Honest Trailer Commentaries, I think, dropped an hour or two ago. Yeah. So Ryan's like, I hope I did the thing. So yeah, make sure you guys check that out. A lot of people had a lot of feelings about our feelings on Godzilla. Mm-hmm. We felt them, and we talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, very exciting stuff.
We do.
Very, very exciting stuff. Guys, let's talk a little bit about Anthony Mackie and my sadness that he's just still going to be a bird. This is via Emin, one of the Marvel Studios series. It's the one joke that I've got, and I'm going to keep hitting it.
I just haven't watched the show in so long. It's new to me, Joe.
Viva Variety.
Viva Variety.
To her, I know that one.
Well, Egan's new. I was trying that out for the first time today.
No, it's good. It's good.
It worked. This is my open mic, for better or worse. One of the Marvel Studios series that's set to premiere on Disney Plus is The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, starring Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan. The series obviously takes place after the events of Endgame. Speaking to IGN at D23 this past weekend, Mackie said the show is still titled The Falcon and Winter Soldier, not Captain America and Winter Soldier, because, quote, I'm not Captain America. Just because he told me to hold his shield, he didn't say, you're Captain America now. That makes me a little sad. Maybe it was you, Dan. I also just attribute wise things to you just regularly because you're a wise man. I feel like in the room, maybe at one point we were expecting them to do a title reveal.
I did. I was wrong. That was a wrong prediction on my part. But I thought that they were going to reveal at D23 that the name of the show was actually Captain America and the Winter Soldier. But they did not, and it appears that they are committed to hanging with the Falcon for a while.
I thought, and maybe this is just one of those things where you make it your own head canon. Like you thought you heard it somewhere, and you're like, oh, that must be true. I thought the series was going to be about the government does not acknowledge that he is Captain America, and the series is about him finding out or trying to become what Captain America even means.
Well, U.S. Agent is going to be in it, so I think there was that's sort of where people were thinking their line of reasoning.
Yeah,
right.
Well, he says he went on to say, he doubled down. He said, I'm the Falcon. I'll always be the Falcon. The moniker stays the same. So I don't know if he's doing maybe he's doing spoiler damage control, because he had also a little while back done the interview where he, completely paraphrasing, but this is why I was kind of excited to watch the show, was, bless you, was, that he was saying I got to hold the shield in front of my son, and I may be Berenstein bearing this, saying that he wore his costume. I don't think that happened. I think that is my headcanon that I made up because he was just talking about how excited he was for his son to see a black Captain America.
I still think it's going to happen.
I think it's going to be about maybe becoming, because you can't just be Captain America. You've got to become Captain America. Yeah. I did your tagline work for you, Disney.
Unless you are Captain America, then they just they put a lot of steroids in you, and you just become Captain America.
But it was his heart.
You're right. He earned it. Yeah.
Heart.
He earned it.
Tim Roth took the juice, and he became the Abomination.
That's fair.
Although he also didn't get the Vita Rays.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's fair. No, they didn't give him the Vita Rays. They gave him the Sharpie abs.
Yeah.
They're like, we don't have the rays, but we've got a pen.
CG abs.
Yeah. Hooey.
I want them to bring... Everyone else gets to come back. Bring Tim Roth back for one little thing.
I agree. I think he could be in WandaVision.
Everyone else is in that show.
Yeah.
Everyone else.
You should be the neighbor.
He's What's-Her-Face's husband. He is the Abomination,
Yeah, but he's just
like that.
He's like the
Or just screw it. Start doing lots of weird duo shows, like Shuri and the Abomination. I don't know why. Just do it. Like, just Tim Roth, just a moody ass, mean Tim Roth, and that adorable, sweet young lady, just getting into hijinks and cutting it up.
Yeah.
Disney, I've done your work for you. It doesn't work when I say it.
No, here's the pitch. He goes to Wakanda because she thinks that she can get the serum out of him and return him to normal. But then he learns that, like the Hulk, he has to abominate when the time comes.
I like it.
Yeah.
It's like a midnight run. Fury and the Abomination.
Yeah, no,
I'd watch that.
Hey, guys. Also, Bucky cut his hair short. It's fine. People cut their hair.
I asked my wife if she was okay with that, and she gave the seal of approval.
Okay.
So we're okay.
Look at him.
My wife
That's a
hates
senior-
Bucky with a passion, which makes me feel weird because that is also the person I am told I look the most like. So I don't know what's going on there. Don't know what's going on there necessarily.
Why does she hate him so much?
I don't know. She just doesn't like his weird face. I don't know. Maybe now I'm just projecting.
Then yes, you might have a problem.
I have an issue.
Well, I was hoping for something
Like,
swung in your favor,
Was there a
Joe.
little one note or no? Okay.
Just something
She
about
hates his facial structure that I share.
Just something about his face. Just something about his face doesn't sit well.
Sorry, Joe.
Anyway, I'm gonna have a weird week. You know what's not weird? More Mortal Kombat casting. This is via to her. I didn't think I'd be excited or interested in another Mortal Kombat movie. This casting is kind of proving me wrong. Like, there's a lot of cool talent involved in this thing so far. So to her revealed that Lewis Tan from Deadpool's 2 Into the Badlands, Wu Assassins, he'll be playing an undisclosed lead character in the New Line Warner Brothers upcoming Mortal Kombat movie, while Jessica McNamee from The Mig will be playing Sonya Blade. Joss Lawson from House of Lies and Superstore will be playing Kano. Variety has also reported that Chin Han from The Dark Knight and Skyscraper, he's good at calculations, you see. Will be playing Shang Tsung, and Hiroyuki Sanada from The Wolverine and Avengers Endgame, and most importantly, from a very cool episode of Westworld. That guy's in everything. He just got killed by Ronan recently. Yeah, in Endgame. Will be playing Scorpion. They also cast Ludi Lin in Power Rangers. He was the Black Ranger as Liu Kang. Tanabu Asano is from Thor as Raiden. Makad Brooks from Supergirl as Jax. There's a ton of really great people in this. Joe Tolson from The Raid is Sub-Zero. Yeah, I think this is really cool. I'm assuming that Lewis Tan is Johnny Cage. He's a cool, swaggery guy.
So who's left?
Yeah,
For a major character, who's left?
I can't imagine he's gonna play like.
Did you say? Oh yeah, Scorpion's in there. Yeah, who's left?
I can't imagine he's gonna play Goro, or maybe I don't know. Maybe they're going a different direction with Goro. He's just gonna be a handsome, good-looking guy. I'm assuming he's Johnny Cage. I think this is gonna
what's
be
your
cool.
hot take on
Dan,
Mortal
yeah,
I
Kombat
know
over
nothing
there?
about
How you
Mortal
feel about
Kombat or
Mortal
anyone
Kombat?
involved with this project. I'm sure they're all wonderful people, but I'm tangentially familiar with everything involved with this story.
Get over here and talk to us about Mortal Kombat. I have a commercial director named Simon Quad's making his feature debut directing this. If you type in Simon McQuad commercial director into Google, you get a Vimeo page that has all of his commercials. So if you want to know kind of what his Mortal Kombat movie is going to feel like, they're all there. I watched them. Actually, with the power of 30-second bites, the guy's really good at moving a camera around and telling a narrative visual story. So cool. Lots of commercial guys make the jump successfully. And this is produced by James Wan. Film opens 2021.
I think it's kind of interesting. It's like, yeah.
And Ryan, I'm just realizing that every time something starts with a C in this section of the script, you spelled it with a K. Well done. Sorry. Go ahead.
Let's commit to the bit. I think it's interesting too. It's like I'm kind of with you, Dan, where it's like I kind of know who some of these people are. Not really. I know the characters, but they are really going to sell you this movie based on the IP and almost the IP alone, which I feel like didn't necessarily work out with like. I mean, Tomb Raider wasn't a flop, right? It was okay, right?
Yeah.
Like it certainly didn't set the world on fire.
It did not.
And I mean, even when you attached like a big name, I guess maybe they thought like, well, we put Fassbender in Assassin's Creed and no one cared, so why spend the
they
money?
made him spend 80% of the movie in a lab.
This
You have the most immersive video game world, one of them in the modern video gaming, and you're like, let's spend 80% of this movie in a lab.
Well, this cast is what's making me hopeful that they are just trying to make a really good, fantastical action movie that will land via like maybe a John Wick, where like the word of mouth is what makes people go, you know what, you should go see this thing. Because I think that's a problem too. Like you bring up Tomb Raider, you bring up Assassin's Creed. We're not just hitting like a reality now where it's got to have an IP to move forward. It's got to be a specific IP. Because I think everyone's snatching and grabbing everything that was left is not going to work. If it's not an Avengers IP and if it's not Batman, it's got an uphill battle already. Like Godzilla, uphill battle. You know, and obviously the movie's not great, but also all the Marvel movies aren't great. But because of the respect people have for the IP now, they're going to crank forward pretty well. Tomb Raider, Assassin's Creed, like all these like lower tier, not Avengers, not Star Wars IPs, not Batman, I think have something to prove. Like they're not just, I don't think the theory of, oh, people know the thing, so they'll go see the thing holds strongly after a certain point.
I mean, they also weren't good movies.
No, that's fair.
or were mediocre. There's not very few outstanding movies that were made based on secondary IPs that were overlooked. Most of them were
That's fair.
not
That's
very
fair.
good.
Look, I personally did not like it, but I think like Pokemon was a strong enough brand that Detective Pikachu was able to at least get in your top 10 for the summer. Like it did respectable for what it was. I would even dare call it successful. No,
It was a success. It was not a like runaway breakout. You know, oh my God, look at this new franchise we have. But it was a success.
but I mean, Pokemon like is one of the biggest merchandise products of all time. Like way more than Star Wars, way more than Batman. Like Pokemon moves merchandise like nothing else. So like for something like Mortal Kombat, which isn't even like a fraction of a percent of what Pokemon would bring in just by brand recognition, like I feel like this Mortal Kombat's got to be like, look, we know why you want to come see a Mortal Kombat movie.
Yeah.
You want to see some kick-ass fights.
Yeah.
The story has to be legible enough that you understand how characters got from A to B, maybe a story, but you want those fights to be incredible.
It feels to me, go with me on this because it feels weird connecting a new Mortal Kombat movie to this Joker movie, but it feels to me that like you sort of said, like you didn't have to attach the Joker to this to make it look intriguing. It'll get people in the seats and get the attention it deserves by putting the Joker to it. But I think the same with this. Like, just based on casting alone, it feels like they're trying to be like, hey, we're trying to make a better raid, and we're calling it Mortal Kombat, so you go see it.
If you can do that,
Yeah.
I'm in.
wonderful.
Yeah, holy crap, I'm in.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah. So that's my hope, is that they're just like, you know, we just got to make a really kick-ass movie, and we have the extra blessing of having an IP attached to it, instead of the other way around, where it's just like,
I see
it's
what you
Tomb
mean.
Raider, they'll go see it.
I see
It's a
what you
great
mean.
movie. I don't care what it's called. It could be Cordal Mombat. If it's better than The Raid, then I'll love it. You know, I don't give. It could be. You know,
Sorry, hang on, I gotta
Fighty
say
Man ring movie. I don't care. That's fine if it's great.
Cordal Wombat!
That was the Dollar Tree version my mom bought me, hoping I wouldn't realize it wasn't the real thing. Thanks, Grandma. It's Cordal Mombat.
Yay! No, I agree with you. I think,
But to get financing,
you gotta have the
a
thing
lot
stuck
of
to
times
it.
you got to stick the thing to it.
Makes sense.
And sometimes that's gonna land. Sometimes not. You're like, isn't the new Kingsman the prequel? Like that wasn't a Kingsman movie.
Yeah,
right?
I think it originally was.
Yeah, they attached the IP. We'll see how that happens.
It happens. It happens a lot.
Yeah.
Like where something wasn't meant to be part of a franchise. Like
And then they're like, "You're a
Ocean's
Cloverfield
12
movie
was
now."
a completely different just heist movie, and then they're like, rewrite it and put the Ocean's characters in it, and that's why it feels a little weird.
Well, and it's not the same thing, but I mean, if you look at Mad Max Fury Road, cut out just the times of him saying he's Max, and that's completely amazing, awesome movie that's just a post-apocalyptic action film. But
you could have called it
Mad Max
Atomic Desert Chase.
Exactly, but it's a lot easier to say or to help, I think, get a project off the ground when you're like, no, it's a Mad Max movie. Like, oh, okay, and then you go from there. That for me was a great way of leveraging a existing name to make a movie that was incredible and original and different. And I would love it if there were a lot more Mad Max Fury Roads out there that just sort of said, hey, we're going to take this thing people are familiar with, but this is a really strong vision from this filmmaker, and we're just going to go this way with it.
Hopefully that's, I mean, again, it sounds dumb to say it out loud because it's Mortal Kombat, but it's like, hopefully that's what Mortal Kombat is.
We'll see.
Fingers crossed. I think they got the cast to do it. We shall see. Guys, let's get to our most important story of the day. It's time for filmmaker mode, you guys. We need filmmaker mode power now.
I think we have an introduction from a major Hollywood celebrity, perhaps.
Oh, we did get him in. Let's cut to him live in his living room.
To that end, we'd like a moment of your time to talk to you about video interpolation.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Tom.
We'll take it from here.
It was nice of him to... I'm sorry to cut you off, Chris McQuarrie. They've been standing by for the whole show just to do that intro. It's one of my favorite videos ever released.
Thanks to that amazing video, it looks like we're going to get a filmmaker mode, a new TV viewing mode, which will disable all post-processing settings so the movie or show is displayed as the filmmaker intended. It has a support of directors like James Cameron, Ruin Johnson, Ava DuVernay, M. Night Shyamalan, Reed Morano, and many, many more. That's his name, right? But I don't understand why you guys are laughing. So this is a reaction to motion smoothing and all the other weird settings on TVs that filmmakers feel are ruining the feeling that they intended.
They put it on because they're like, guys, it's for sports. I'm like, even football looks weird when you put that shit on.
It does.
You just move like you're the Exorcist. Like, stop it.
Yeah.
Turn it off. No one wants it.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Yeah.
Costco, stop showing your TVs with this on. I hate it.
Yeah, and they're set that way when you get them. And you know how Jay and Silent Bob, they get rich, and their thing that they do is they go door to door and they find the people that made a comment. If I was in a similar scenario, I would go door to door and just ask to turn off everyone's motion smoothing, and that would be my life. I'd be like the Forrest Gump of running across the country and turning motion smoothing off of television forever.
Johnny Motion Seed
until there were no more motion smoothing. I love this. I love this because
I like it.
I hate how motion smoothing looks, and I sympathize with filmmakers who say like it makes my movie look cheap, and I don't, and like a soap opera, as Tom Cruise was going to go on and say. And I also, just as a consumer, because they don't come like my TV at home. I've gotten it kind of close, but like the presets aren't optimal. Like I'm always adjusting, like this movie like it looks a little like I gotta adjust this. Like I would love if they, and from what I was reading, this is not just a mode that they support. Like they have worked with television developers to say, okay, these are the settings that we want in this mode. Like I love that. I love that I can go to a mode on my television that filmmakers have looked at and said, like, this is the optimal way to watch.
Because
films.
I can't do that manually. I'm going to say something that I think a lot of our fans have suspected for a long time. I'm sort of an idiot. And I'm not good at going into my settings and just like step by step, like just like, okay, let me tinker with this and then that. Because then I'm just, at some point the TV is actually going to smoke, maybe.
I'm one of those nerds that got one of those like calibration spiders.
Oh, yeah, I can't do it.
I'm very much like the calibration guy. The home theater is like a hobby of mine. So like this stuff drives me nuts. Because also like, not just like motion smoothing, this will also like get your HDR settings and make sure that your aspect ratio that you're not watching it like kind of like zoomed in, because
my eyes just started bleeding.
I hate it when now like
I'm already
people watch like stuff that was filmed in like old full screen, but it's like stretched.
Well, that's how HBO like airs all their movies.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Then, I think, some of them. Hopefully not all of them, but I've noticed that a few times. It's like, why don't stop? No, don't stop it. Stop it.
Yeah, there's a couple cartoons that have been remastered and re-released, but they're still in old school ratio. But I'd almost rather have that than stretching them.
I mean, there's like
or or punching in so that you like.
That's what I was gonna say.
on
Like they did that with Friends, and there's some shots where it's just like there is so much room to the side of it, but Ross barely clears. But like to the side of him, it's just purple walls for days.
I didn't realize that the cast was so tall. I remember that.
It's like this is framed terribly. It's like, yeah, it was not meant for 16, but they do it with Seinfeld too. It's
Seinfeld, though, strangely, the ones that I've watched looks okay, and I don't know why.
All the Kramer, they're all short.
Yeah, I guess because George is a tiny man.
Yeah, they're all very small people.
But yeah, that's I appreciate that. That's what they did with Star Trek: The Next Generation when they remastered it. They couldn't go wide because that was before anyone had a concept in the 80s and early 90s that televisions would ever be rectangular.
Yeah.
Right.
So they show it, and it's great in the making of. They show if they were to show the full frame of the image that was shot, you would see equipment and like unfinished effects, and so they had to maintain
really
the 4:3
funny. Yeah,
ratio
that's
because they
interesting.
literally could not unmask the picture. But they remastered it and it looks gorgeous. Like the Blu-ray, I mean, it's a crisp, wonderful transfer, but they kept the aspect ratio as it was, and it is like seeing the show. It is seeing the show as it's meant to be seen.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's like I've got my brightness where I want it. I got the color about right, but the whites are a little too blown out now. So now I'm trying to adjust that. But it would be great to at least get a starter package.
Right.
It's like, okay, let me at least start from a good base here, and then I can monkey around with it.
You know, it's a good movie to actually test to see if your whites are way too blown out. Go to Camino on Attack of the Clones, and if your eyes just start bleeding for other purposes, it might just be too white. It's not that bad. Everyone relax.
Guys, we're going to leave you on that piece of wisdom. Go back to Camino. It's worth it.
Get out of my country. Go back to Camino.
Go back to Camino.
With your clones.
With your clones and your water. Your tidal
long
waves.
necks.
Mandalorian adopted child out of wedlock. Single Mandalorian clone father.
I really like Sci-Fi Racist. I don't know where he came from. But I really like this character.
Your long necked raisin head.
My brother fought for in this army for 57 years, only to get replaced by this clone trained artificial labor.
But then on the other side, you've got a guy who's like, who's like, we fought on the side of the Trade Federation, and then they replaced us all with droids.
New Zealand Army.
You can't tell me that Roger fought better than me and my brother Dale.
What is a droidica? What is it?
It's just a droid with an extra syllable, that's what.
Made my children the old-fashioned way, not in some lab somewhere.
You can't tell me that it costs less to keep oil in them droids than it costs to feed me a ration square.
Just give me a portion. One portion.
One half portion. I don't know how that happened, but I'm glad that it did. Guys, hope you enjoyed the show today. We'll see you tomorrow on Thursday, where we'll be talking about more weird things in these voices right here on SJU. Enjoy your Wednesday.